friends, today we're going to be comparing functions. So first question is, or first example is going to be this. Go ahead and pull out your notebook and you're going to want to take some notes on these. Our first example says, Jana has joined a swim club that charges $25 a month and $5 every time she swims. Joy plays tennis at a club and is charged based on the table below. The number of visits are 4, 7, and 11, and then their respective charges are as follows: 30, 52, 50, and 82.50. Find out which person pays less for their sport at 5, 10, and 30 visits. In order for us to do this, we've got to first come up with an equation for both of them so we can compare. So let's go back up here and take a look at Jana. She's joined a swim club that charges $25 a month and $5 every time she swims. You'll remember, so let's create a quick chart here. If we do this guy, we would have our X is going to be the number of visits, and our Y is going to be the total cost. So our number of visits for Jana's up here. Let me make sure I got that down. So 5, 10, and 30. Okay, so we have to come up with an equation for this in order to be able to plug these numbers in. It's $25 a month and $5 every time she swims. When we're talking about linear functions, and remember, linear is just a fancy way of saying line, we're talking about y equals mx plus b. Now, m is often referred to as our slope, but it's also the thing that changes. So you may see it referred to as our rate. Our b is our y-intercept. This is also our starting amount, So if you take a look at this, if Jana has joined a swim club that charges $25 a month, for 1 month, if she goes to visit the swim club one time, she's going to be charged $5. So it'll be $30 total because she goes 5 times, $5 5 times. So let's talk about that. She goes $5 every time she goes, so it's going to be $5 times 5 visits plus that initial $25 here. Now, for our 10, we're going to do the $5. So we're going to say, okay, it's 10 times $5 every time plus 25. And then for 30, we're going to do the same. 30 times $5 plus $25. And then we will compute these to get our total. Now, how does this tie in with our y equals mx plus b? Well, let me rewrite that down here. Y equals mx plus b. As I mentioned, this is our starting amount, and this is what's changing. And you'll see I've kind of written it like that here. What we have is y equals $5. I swapped these two around, but every time she goes to the club, she's charged $5. X is the number of times she visits, just like over here. She's visiting 5, 10, and 30 times, plus that part that doesn't change. It's always $25 a month. That doesn't change. No matter how many times she visits, it's only $25. So you'll see that we have our equation here, and that's kind of what we've done over here. Now let's come up with our numbers for this guy. Okay, so we've got 5 times 5 is 25, plus 25 is going to give us 50. 5 times 10 is 50, plus 25 is going to give us 75. 5 times 30 is 150, plus 25 is 175. So at 5 visits, she's paying 50, at 10, she's paying 75, and at 30, she's paying 175. And you can see that reflected here in this equation. All right, so that's for Jana. Now let's talk about Joy. She plays tennis at a club and is charged based on this table below. This table, those are all just points on our graph. So I'm going to rewrite those guys as points down here. So we've got $4, or 4 visits, is $30. And then we have 7 visits is $52.50. And then we have 11 and $82.50. Now, from this, we can't really write out our equation quite yet, but what we can do is figure out what our rate is. And remember, our rate is our m, okay? So we look at this and we see, okay, our rate is also our slope. And you may have seen in previous videos, your slope formula is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You will never get sick of this slope formula. You're going to hear, well, maybe you will get sick of it. You will never stop hearing it, is what I should say. So you can take any 2 points on the graph. Or on your table or on your graph, whatever you've got. And I'm going to take this top one here, and I'm going to call that my x1, y1. And then I'm going to take this bottom one here. I'm going to call that my x2, y2. And so the way our slope formula works is this minus this over this minus this. So 8250 minus 30, my y1, over 11 minus 4. All right, so let's do some math here. We've got 8250 minus 30. That's going to give us 5250. So let me draw a little arrow here. I got a little excited about my writing. 5250, and now we're going to divide that by 11 minus 4, so that gives us 7. Whoops. Let's try that. Okay, now if we reduce this down, you'll see that if you do 5250 divided by 7 is going to give us $7.50. So every visit that Joy does is $7.50. $7.50. All right, let's use a second piece of paper here so we've got this. So we know that, and I'll rewrite Jana's here. We have X and we have our Y. And remember, at 5 visits, Jana's was $50. And at 10 visits, it was $75. And at 30 visits, it was $175. Now let's talk about Joy here. And so here's Jana. Joy, every time she visits, was just $7.50. So Y equals $7.50. She does not have a monthly charge. It's just per visit. And so X and Y, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find out at 5, 10, and 30 visits. So let's take a look at that. If we do $7.50 and we times it by, so we get $7.50 times 5, then we have $10 times 5, and then we have $7.50, oops, let's try this again. All right, $7.50 times 5, and then we have $7.50 times 10, and then $7.50 times 30. Okay, so when we go to do this, $7.50 times 5 is going to give us $37.50. $7.50 times 10 is going to give us $75. And then $7.50 times 30 is going to give us $225. Okay, so let's take a comparison here. At $5, or at 5 visits, might help. Let me write that down. 5 visits. And then put some dollar signs in here. So at 5 visits, Jana's paying $50. At 5 visits, Joy is paying $37.50. So it's cheaper to play tennis, right? Because she was the tennis player, she was the swimmer. At 10, it's $75 and $75. So at 10, they're the same. At 30 visits, it's $175. And at 30 visits for Joy, it's $225. So you'll see at 30 visits, it's cheaper to be a swimmer. Hope that helps you compare those so you can see which is going to give you the greater deal or the better deal. And I look forward to seeing you next time.